Okay, good afternoon and good morning, everyone. A very warm welcome. There, one more student. Okay, a very warm welcome. And my name is Yue. I'm the director of UK Star Education Consultancy and the official representative in Taiwan for the University of Warwick. And on behalf of our entire team, thank you for joining this exclusive online section with Warwick Business School. And today's event is designed to give you a clear, authentic insight into WBS. And we also have a two-part agenda. First, we are delighted to have Mr. Rose Zhang, Assistant Business Development Recruitment Manager from WBS, and who will present an overview of the school and his renowned master programs. Following that, you will hear directly from two current student ambassadors who will share their personal experience. And we will have a Q&A after each segment. So please feel free to type your question in the chat box at any time, and we will give you answer during the dedicated Q&A sessions. So without further ado, let's begin. So please join me in giving a very warm welcome to our first speaker, Mr. Rose Zhang. Hi, Rose.
Hi there. Hi
and
there.
over to you.
Thank you, and thank you everybody for joining the session today. It's great to see you all in here, and it's really fantastic to get an opportunity to talk to you a little bit about our programs and the application process, and hopefully to answer any questions that you might have about that. As US says, if you've got any questions during the session, please feel free to pop them into the chat. There should be some time at the end of my first presentation for me to take some questions then as well. But a fair bit to cover today. You know, we have a lot of programs and there's some good application guidance and advice that I can give. So I'll try and go into as much detail as I can in the time that we have. But as Yue says, I'm Ross John. I'm the Assistant Business Development and Recruitment Manager looking after the full-time master's portfolio. So I'm going to be giving you a brief introduction to Warwick Business School. I'm then going to cover our master's courses with a bit of a focus on some of the newer programs that we've brought in or some of the redesigned programs as part of the portfolio. I'm then going to go into a bit of depth about the application process, and in particular, I'm going to talk you through some of the documents that you'll need to provide in an effort to make sure that you can put in the strongest application that you're going to be able to when you do apply. We're going to cover briefly the career support that's available for Warwick Business School students, and then obviously at the end you'll have a little bit of time to ask me some questions. As you says, we'll be joined by some of our ambassadors in about an hour's time, and they'll be able to take you through their experiences as well, and also be able to answer any of your questions then. So without further ado, an introduction to Warwick Business School. So where are we? We are right on the outskirts of Coventry, ironically enough, closer to Coventry than we are to Warwick. But we are directly really in the Midlands, right in the centre of the UK, which gives us fantastic links to pretty much everywhere that you may want to go during your time with us. And of course, that central location is fantastic for our graduates in terms of being closely linked to many, many different industries in many different parts of the UK. As I said, we're about an hour away from London on the train. That could get faster once the HS2 is finally built. But we're very close to Leamington, Warwick, Stratford, the birthplace of Shakespeare, of course, Kenilworth, Oxford's not far away, Birmingham International Airport's 20 minutes away, Birmingham itself is 25. And as I said, we're nestled directly on the outskirts of Coventry. Coventry has its own university as well. So Coventry City itself has become an extremely vibrant and student-led city. So it is a fantastic place to live near or in while you're studying with us, as it's really, really, really student-focused. And what makes us stand out? So we are for the change makers. That's one of our taglines. You know, we believe that the future needs smart ideas and bold leaders to bring them to life. We're looking always to blend our academic excellence with real world applications so that everything we're going to teach you is going to help you take on today's challenges and lead tomorrow's opportunities. The students of you will likely step into roles in industries that may not even exist yet. And in a world evolving faster than ever, traditional degrees and career paths can feel outdated before you even graduated. That's why we've designed our master's courses to evolve with the world, not just to keep up, but to lead it. And we've really been ahead of the curve for nearly 60 years now. So we're looking to always be equipping ambitious minds with the skills, knowledge, and the network to shape what's next. We have diversity that drives impact. Diversity is a big thing all the way across the Warwick University campus. And, for the most part, a lot of our courses will accept from any academic discipline. We're bringing lots of different thought processes, lots of different ethoses, and lots of different backgrounds onto our programs. We're a hugely collaborative atmosphere, and the idea behind that really is you're not just learning from us and from the program and from the technical abilities that we have here in the school. You're also learning from the students around you. Different people will approach problems in different ways, and there's going to be lots of group work and presentation tasks that are going to give you the opportunity to mingle your ideas with those of people that are thinking differently to you, hopefully looking to come up with novel solutions to today's problems. We promote a very inspirational learning environment. We have our smart stage now, so you may see some podcasts coming out of there. You may see some of your more interactive learning coming out of there. It's a fantastic piece of kit. It's really the next generation in online lecture environments. It utilizes extended reality to replace the traditional green screen element with a virtual studio. Really great piece of kit. If and when you actually get to campus with us, really recommend that you go and take a look at it. It is fantastic. We also have, of course, our business and practice routes or internships. Business and practice being our business simulation exercise that is available across most of our courses. This would be a group-based exercise where you'll join with students from other programs, and you will take a fictional car company, usually through 3 weeks of business simulation here on campus. To replace the traditional internship route, it's there to give you the opportunity to apply your learning practically in a nice, safe, simulated environment. And that really is an excellent stepping stone for many students to go from study to practical application of what they've learned while they're here with us. And it really is a very popular choice for those students that have it available to them. Once we get to our courses section, I will confirm which courses have it available as an option. We, of course, have 90,000 plus LinkedIn members with access to sector-specific professional networks, as well as geographical networks as well, and lots of other different networks that might be fruitful to you as a graduate. We have a really strong alumni network of 53,000 plus graduates as well, so lots of opportunities for you to engage with prior Warwick students and looking to extend a network, to make inroads with employers. It really is, networking is really, really strong with this school, and that network will follow you once you graduated as well. Career support. Careers Plus will support you for life. There's a slide towards the end of the session where I'll go into a bit more detail about what support they're going to give you. But yeah, suffice it to say, we will start before you arrive. You'll have the full suite while you're here, and then you'll always be able to come back to us and get further career support once you've graduated. We do have really, really strong links with the corporate world, including a very strong relationship with the Bank of England itself. Very proud of our rankings as well. Lots of recognition for our programs. Our MSc in Management is now actually the second ranked in the UK, which is fantastic. It's a very crowded place, the management market. So we're really, really, really happy that our program has managed to achieve that ranking there. Our Business Analytics, which has actually been quite redesigned for this year, and I will go into more detail about that when we get to the course slides. But it's currently sitting at number 3 in the UK, which again is another fantastic result for a very competitive program. Our MSc Marketing Strategy, also number 2 in the UK, that is of UK-based universities. We have a TEF, that's a Teaching Excellence Framework Gold Award. Our MSc in Finance, the flagship of the finance portfolio, is ranked 4th in the Financial Times Masters in Finance. And of course, you can see there, we've got many accreditations, including one of the Athena Swan Gold Awards, which is a very difficult one to obtain. So we're really, really proud. And, the fact of the matter is we're not as old as many of the institutions that we compete against. So we're really, really pleased that over the course of a much shorter period of time, we've been able to garner some really, really strong rankings. And the university itself is the 6th most targeted university by the largest number of top employers. So again, there is a fantastic opportunity to get really, really good outcomes for our students coming off their master's programs. The teaching, you're going to be taught by leading academics, and they're very well connected with industry, including our professors in practice who are, almost part-time faculty and are actually in industry still and putting their learning, they're bringing that industrial experience and practical application to courses. And our inspirational learning environments, it's not confined to the classroom. Of course, we've left the whiteboard behind, and we're trying to give you the practical experience to be able to give you the skills and confidence to apply your learning in a practical setting, whether it's international electives or consultancy projects. And throughout the course of the year, you won't be sitting exam after exam after exam. There'll be lots of different ways to assess modules, be it group work, presentation tasks, written assignments, online tasks, very engaging. We're looking at really giving you lots of variety in terms of the way that we're assessing how this learning is coming across. We don't stand still. We're always looking at innovate and trying to find the best technology to support your learning journey, such as obviously the Smart Stage, of course, our Bloomberg terminals, the behavioral unit. There is a lot of resource and technology behind the master's courses that is going to be really beneficial to you as a student here. Research impact as well. 93% of our business schools research output has been rated world leading or internationally excellent. We're really, really proud of that. And of course, our academics are very, very research active, and our research feeds into our programs. In particular, you could look at the Gilmore Center for Financial Technology. That has sort of been the precursor to us creating our MSc in Financial Technology, which was a new program that came in for this year's entry and is still available for those coming in 2026 as well. Our research and the industry links that we're forging based on that are going really well into building a very, very exciting program and something we're really excited about for the future. Obviously that's alongside our future of work research with technologies like AI, robots, automatizations, and questions around the ethics of data and AI biases, and whether a robot tax is needed to help those being replaced by automation. These are all questions that we're answering with our research into the future of work. We are well established in the finance and markets area as well. This has been a strong area for the school time. Finance and markets are undergoing a rapid revolution, from cryptocurrencies to blockchain to the emergence of fintech and open banking. We've got a really strong relationship, as I said, with the Bank of England, so we can establish research partnerships, and we're collaborating with many, many different institutions in order to develop highly relevant master's courses. Sustainability is an area for us which we're really, really diving into now. They're leading research into this area, producing practical insights that can help organizations and businesses of all sizes move towards a sustainable operation and help society meet the UN sustainability goals. And of course, leadership is a very strong area at school. This has been decades-long work, transforming people's potentials into leadership that makes a difference. Our cutting-edge studies are, we're at the forefront of academic and industry discussion, contributing to the advancements of best practices. Our research has global impact as recognized by the research excellence framework we've had. Our collaborations with industry partners is ensuring that the practical application of our relevant research is at the forefront of all. And of course, that research directly benefits the classroom because we feed it into our programs. So consistently updating our modules, our programs, consistently making them topical and cutting edge and bleeding edge. So really that activity and research is what really is a lot of our strength. And of course, the academics, a lot of their knowledge that they can pass on to the students. So coming on to our courses, we have quite the range of programs available to you. We have 15 distinct master's programs across 3 portfolios. So beginning with our business courses, I'll start and linger for a moment on the MSc in Business Analytics and Artificial Intelligence that sits in the business portfolio. This program has been quite significantly redesigned for coming into this year. So as I said, I'll go into a little bit of detail about that now. It was a popular program before, but obviously now we're building in that artificial intelligence element. It will now give students 4 distinct pathways that they can choose to take through the course of their studies with us. That could be in predictive and prescriptive analytics. That could be in artificial intelligence itself. It could be in management analytics, or it could be in marketing analytics. It's also going to offer you quite a range of different capstone modules. So obviously the classic dissertation, which is available for all courses. You will also have access as a student on that course to the business in practice route, as I've mentioned before. Within that now as well, there is an internship option to finish off the business analytics and artificial intelligence program. And finally, the analytics portfolio, where students will do several analyses on companies, and they will be building a visual sort of representation of the analysis that they've made. So it's like a visual data portfolio, which is actually looks quite exciting and engaging. So as I said, quite a different program now coming into 2026 entry, although the requirements haven't changed. I'll go into those in a little more detail in a moment. Rounding out the business portfolio is the Business with Marketing program, the Business with Consulting program, the Business with Operations Management course, and of course the MSc in International Business. All of the business courses do have business in practice as an available option. So that's available to all students on the business courses. Moving to our accounting and finance programs. So we have our flagship MSc in Finance. Then we have our MSc in Business and Finance, which is a great program that gives you a bit of a grounding in both worlds, that business education, broad and diverse in terms of its skill sets, along with a real focus in an advanced financial education. We have our MSc in Finance and Economics. That is a program that we run alongside the economics department here at Warwick University, another very, very highly regarded department on campus. So you're getting the benefit of some really, really cutting edge learning from two very well regarded departments. We have, as I mentioned previously, our MSc in Financial Technology, new to 2025 entry, a really exciting program. Maurice Strubb, the course director, really engaged, really passionate, built off the back of the research we're doing at the Gilmore Centre for Financial Technology. Lots of AI, lots of technology in that program, really forward thinking, really exciting, really looking forward to seeing lots over the coming years. We have redesigned our accounting offering for 2025 entry and remaining that way for 2026. The MSc in Accounting Financial Management has been redesigned, but is more similar to the original Accounting and Finance that we had. And then, of course, you have the Accounting and Sustainability program with a real focus on that sustainability element there. That's quite a new program, quite fresh and really forward thinking in itself as well. Certainly something I'd recommend you looking into if sustainability is one of the core sort of learning objectives that you have. We, of course, build ESG and sustainability into all of our courses, but Accounting and Sustainability is the program that would have the sort of level of elements from that area. Finally, in that portfolio is the MSc in Mathematical Finance. I'll go into a bit more detail about this program when we go into sort of the eligibility requirements. It is a conversion program meant for mathematicians and statisticians wanting to get into finance, but as I said, I'll cover that a little more in a moment. Within the Accounting and Finance portfolio, the business and practice route is only really available to the MSc Business and Finance students. There is a similar program on the financial technology as well, though it's fintech and practice, rather than the business and practice route. It's more focused on that fintech element than the business and practice is. Finally, our management portfolio programs, which of course contains our MSc in Management. We then have our MSc in Marketing and Strategy, and to round out that, we have the MSc Management of Information Systems and Digital Innovation. Marketing and Strategy and Management of Information Systems and Digital Innovation, we call it MISD, and just to save a bit of time, I will do from here on out. Those two programs also have the business and practice route available to students. So as I said, just confirming, not all courses have business and practice available, but a good majority of them do. In terms of entry requirements, broadly across the board, it's students looking to or have obtained a 2-1 degree at undergraduate level from a UK university or the overseas equivalent from a top performing university. You can always get in touch with us to find out before you apply what your equivalence is, where we consider you to sit in terms of your eligibility for particular courses. So if you're not sure at all, just do reach out and get in touch. You will have our contact details. In terms of an English language requirement, you will need to be a Band B, which effectively for IELTS means we need a 7 overall, and no two components to have scored, no more components to be scored at 6 or 6.5. We do accept lots of other English language tests. So if you go to the Warwick University website, you'll be able to find all of the accepted English language tests that we have. It could be a TOEFL, it could be Cambridge Advanced, Cambridge Proficiency, could be Trinity, could be Pearson Test of English, in certain cases Duolingo. So there's lots of different options for you to meet an English language qualification requirement. You do not need to have it at application though. It doesn't actually form part of our assessment in terms of your suitability to a program. It would simply need to form part of the conditions of any offer if a student were to want to come and attend the program, and of course for visa purposes. So if you're waiting to have your English language before you apply, I would suggest not doing that. The sooner you apply, the more seats we still have available, the more scholarship we still have available, so the more likely you are to be in receipt of either or both. If you don't have the English language, it just means that when you get your offer, it will be conditional on you obtaining one. So in terms of the academic requirements, as I mentioned, broadly across the board, it's a 2-1 or the overseas equivalent. For the bulk of the business and all of the management portfolio, we're looking for a wide variety of candidates, and we're really going to welcome anyone from any academic discipline onto most of those courses. The only caveat to that would be analytics and artificial intelligence program. Due to the programming nature of it, the AI, the predictive, prescriptive sort of areas of it, we do require candidates for that course to have been able to demonstrate a strong numerical, statistical, mathematical ability at undergraduate level. Typically, we'd be looking for sort of 3 or 4 quantitative modules from intermediate level or above. Now, quantitative modules could cover a multitude of sins. We might be looking at maths and stats as usual, probability and statistics, but we're also looking at economics, accounting, engineering degree programs will be more than quantitative enough for this course. So students can be coming from a, say, business administration background, but if they've got some business maths, some business stats, some probabilities, some economics, some finance, it's likely they're still going to be deemed as having the right ability to be able to be considered for that course. Again, you can always get in touch with us before you apply, and we can let you know whether or not you have the prerequisite modules at the right level. And in terms of the finance and accounting portfolio, that's where it diverges quite a bit in terms of what your eligibility needs to be. So we'll cover each of the programs in turn. In terms of our MSc in Accounting and Financial Management, the Accounting and Sustainability, the Financial Technology, and the Business of Finance, we still welcome applications from all disciplines. However, for the MSc in Accounting and Financial Management and the MSc in Financial Technology, a strong quantitative skills would be advantageous. They're not a requirement. It's just advantageous for students coming onto that program to be able to be comfortable with numbers, if you will, and to demonstrate strong quantitative skills. In terms of the accounting sustainability program, realistically, that's more weighted on the sustainability side. So prior knowledge in the social and natural sciences and direct relation to the organization of sustainable development would be advantageous. In particular, when you're writing your personal statement for that course, it's really key for you to demonstrate that you have a critical engagement with the sustainability section of that program. With our MSc in Business and Finance, possessing good quantitative skills is what I have there. Again, it is from all disciplines, but we have a slightly higher quantitative requirement for that. We might be looking for 6 or 7 modules or so in a quantitative area. Again, that covers many, many different sorts of modules you might do. Ideally, very much ideally, the students will have touched on finance at some point during their study as well, maybe 1 or 2 modules of, corporate finance, financial management. That's just to make sure that they've got that base level of financial acumen in order to be able to come onto that program and hit the ground running. With our MSc in Finance, Finance and Economics and Mathematical Finance, the eligibility criteria are much more narrow and much stricter. They are very, very technically challenging programs, and the narrow and strict requirements are a result of that. For our MSc in Finance, candidates will typically be coming from a finance or economics or econometric degree program at undergraduate level. Now, we've widened out our criteria for that somewhat. Now we consider very quantitative degrees as well that might not have the touch on finance, economics, or econometrics that we would normally sort of expect. Might be maths, that might be stats, physics, computer science, data science, engineering, certain disciplines. Those students that don't have a financial, economic, or econometric background, but do have a very quantitative degree program, are probably going to be required to take a summer school in finance. The idea being, we recognize that your quantitative skills are here, but without touching on finance, you're not quite at the level you need to be in order to start that program. So you'll do usually about a week's module in the summer that will take that strong numerical ability and build the foundations of a financial mindset, meaning that when you come onto the MSc in Finance, you're going to be able to do that course and tackle the sort of course content coming here. It is a comprehensive quantitative curriculum designed to equip students with the knowledge essential for a thriving career. So it has to be very technical and very focused. Our MSc in Finance and Economics is looking for economists, essentially, an economic background or substantial economics component to whatever degree you've taken. You must have taken courses in micro and macroeconomic theory at an intermediate level or above. That would be typically from the second year onwards. Econometrics is quite a strong module to have in your back pocket for that course as well. Competencies will also be required in calculus, statistics, and as I said, econometrics there as well. They're really looking for that strong economic background and skill set to build off, and then we'll start introducing our financial mindset. MSc in Mathematical Finance, we run that with the statistics department here on campus. So they're very focused on taking students from heavily quantitative degree backgrounds, financial mathematics, for example, or maths or stats, or Morse, really, really heavily quantitative programs that don't necessarily have any foundations in finance there. It's basically a conversion program for mathematicians and statisticians to be able to start building a financial mindset off the back of, while also continuing a more advanced mathematical education. We do require foundation in maths, sound knowledge of probability theory, linear algebra, and differential calculus are necessary for that program. Probably the single most technically challenging course that we have available, and as such, it has really, really strict requirements there. But that covers all of the courses, all of the requirements. As I said, for the most part, we'll accept from any academic discipline, except for these really, really focused and technically challenging programs, as mentioned. So in terms of the application process, so in real brief, you'll be preparing your documents, then you'll be making your application, you'll be paying your fee. Once your application is in with us, we'll be considering it, typically for 6 to 8 weeks, and then you'll get your decision. That decision will be via email and form of an offer letter, which will let you know of any scholarship you've been awarded and tell you what the conditions are. And then, of course, the next steps are meeting those conditions and getting yourself to campus in time to enroll for the course. So in terms of your documents, the absolute bare bones, what we must have are your undergraduate transcripts, your CV, your personal statements, and at a minimum, your referee's details. So first of all, onto the transcript. So pretty simple and effective. One moment. Your transcript must show the modules you've taken for each year of your study, including the first year or foundation year if you took one. All modules must include the marks achieved to date. Just to add here as well, we will need an English translation, so please make sure that you've had a document translated before you submit it, as that way we'll be able to read it and make our decisions on your eligibility. Now, we also, for those students still studying, obviously those of you that have graduated can submit your full transcripts and potentially your degree certificates as well, in order to make sure that you're going to have the opportunity to meet all your conditions as quickly as possible. If you are still studying though, best practice is to provide us with your final year modules. Now, we don't need that to be in the form of a transcript. We know not always will you be able to collect it in a formal transcript form. It's happily to be a PDF or a Word document. You could take a picture or post it. It doesn't matter. We just need a list of those modules that you can be finishing with in order to be able to see exactly what the breadth of your study is going to be over the course of your program. For some courses, it's absolutely essential. I say it's good practice. It should be provided anyway. It's just good practice for you to be able to provide that. However, if you're applying for a finance course or a business and finance program or even business analytics and AI, it's likely that if we can't see your final year modules, we will have to come back and request them. And obviously, when we come to you and request a document, that's effectively building in a delay to us being able to consider your application. So as I said, it's really, really best practice if you are to provide that immediately upon the time that you apply. As I said, Word or PDF document, it doesn't need to be something official. But past the transcript, your transcripts, your academics, they are what essentially let us know that you're able to be considered for a program. They're the indicators that show us you'd be able to keep up with the academic rigor of our courses. It's the rest of the application after that that's going to decide how strong a candidate you come across as. Now, the CV and personal statement are particularly important to that. We don't use interviews as part of our application process. Interviews can be very strong and useful in identifying what kind of person a candidate is. That's how we get to know you. That's the personal element of an application process. So without that component, your CV and really your personal statement, and to a lesser extent, your reference, these are the documents that are going to tell us who you are, what you've done, what you plan to do. They are the personal touches. So I think they're really, really key to get right. Now, on the base of it, your CV should contain the following. You really want to get your educational background in there, of course. Your employment history, that's internships, part-time roles as well, or your full-time roles since you graduated. After that, we're really interested in volunteering experience. We're really interested in your extracurricular and your co-curricular activities, and we're really interested in your personal hobbies and interests. Now, I will linger on CVs for a moment. I think there's a lot that I could talk about sort of on this matter, and certainly some tricks that I can give you in order to make sure that your CV is as strong as possible for our purposes. So, the caveat to this is I am discussing this in particular with regards to applying to one of our master's courses. This is not advice for a professional CV at all. This is advice for a CV that comes into us. Now, the typical trap that people fall into is doing exactly that, is in providing us with a purely professional CV. Now, it's understandable. Of course, we're the business school. There's a very direct chain of logic there that says business school, professional CV. However, what you must remind yourself of is you're not applying for a job. We're not employing you. So professional CVs are great. They're tightly formatted. They're one-pagers. They're extremely relevant with everything else cut off. And the idea behind that is typically you might find yourself going through CV checking software as the first instance when you're applying for roles. And when you're going through CV checking software, there's no room for any peripheral information. There's no room to impress a piece of software. You're essentially going to be run through it. It's going to tick a box or it's not going to tick a box. And that's going to be the decision between you moving forward in the process or not. With us, though, you're going to be reviewed by a human, by one of my team. There's lots of opportunities there for you to impress us with the amount of effort you put into a document by doing something different. And as I said, we're not assessing you for a job. We're assessing you for a place on one of our courses. And when you take up a place on one of our courses, you become part of our student body. The Warwick University community is very active, very engaged, very collaborative, very together. And as such, we like to see candidates that demonstrate that themselves. What you must remember is, the course will form the core of what you do while you're with us. It will be at the center of everything, of course, as it should be. But you're on a campus like Warwick. You've got so many opportunities that are coming from outside of your program that still give you the opportunity to develop, whether it be in terms of your personal skill set or your network or just your social, taking that break away from work. We need to know that students aren't going to burn out. So how we do this? Well, we're looking at your voluntary experience and your extracurriculars and your co-curriculars. As I said, you don't need to limit yourself to one page with our CVs. You don't need to limit yourself to a particular format. We've seen everything. I've seen fashion magazine front covers. I've seen prescription pads, newspaper CVs, key skills banners, bios, everything that really personalizes a document that you wouldn't be able to put on a professional CV. I would suggest that your extracurricular activities should be treated in the same way that you treat your work experience. Your work experience typically will give us the headline of where I was, when I was there. And then underneath, you're going to talk about sort of the key skills that you learned, the key takeaways from it, your key achievements. Extracurriculars should work the same way. The more detail you provide around your extracurriculars, the more we know that you've done that activity, the more we start to get a sense of what you took from it and what your motivations were in doing it. And, when we're talking about scholarship, which I'll go into more detail towards the end of the session, overall, we want candidates that can meet requirements, really comprehensive CVs covering everything we're talking about here, well written, well thought out, well researched personal statements and positive references. That would make a very strong application, and a very strong overall application would have an excellent opportunity of getting a scholarship award. That being said, there are things which will leap off pages at us, and typically they'll come in the form of the CV. Leadership potential is one of them. That could be captain of the badminton club, president of a student body, team leader in work experience. It can come from many of these areas. It's what's really important to go into detail in your extracurriculars, because we can glean some information from those as well. We're looking at entrepreneurial skill sets. So, if you founded anything or started anything from scratch, have you founded a club? Did you start an event? Building something from the base to the apex is an entrepreneurial skill set, and that's something that will leap out of a CV at us. We look at innovation. It might be an engineer with a patent pending. It might be innovating a process as part of your club membership or part of your role in a student body or as part of your work experience. Innovation will jump off the page. And of course, social impact. We're looking to build the future change makers. of tomorrow, and change makers must have social impact. Your volunteering experience will speak very highly towards that scoring metric. So, you know, any voluntary activities you've done, is it working with NGO? Have you been tutoring students for their class 10 maths? Have you been working as a student ambassador? Have you done a charitable event? All of these things build into social impact, and that's really impressive coming through. So, as I say, you know, there's a lot of room for you when you don't have to limit yourself to one page. There's a lot of room for you to really expand on points in your CV, which also frees you up when it comes to your personal statement as well, because you're providing a lot of information in your CV that you then don't need necessarily to talk about in your personal statement, because again, it's jumping off the page at us. And as I said, there is no format that is right, no format that is wrong. There are just lots of different formats. I think what you've got to remember is, again, as I've said, you know, it leaps off the page to us when a candidate has obviously spent a bit of time working on a document. So, you know, you do have room to impress the person looking at your application, to really personalize that document. As I said, fashion magazine front covers, prescription pads, notebook style CVs. We've seen them all. And I think it's worth remembering, you know, you're trying to stand out in this process. And if you're submitting a tightly formatted one-page black and white CV with no frills, no bells, no whistles, you're probably doing the same thing as 90% of the people that apply. And it's the 10% who take that time to work on something slightly different, to personalize it a little bit, even just putting a bio in it. It's those guys whose document stands out immediately when you open it, because, you know, if I look at 50 applications in a day and 49 of them had a tightly formatted professional CV, and I open that last one, and it is just a bit more vibrant, a bit more personal, a bit more expansive in terms of what it's talking about, it immediately grabs my attention a little more. So you just by the way you're putting effort into the document, you can really make yourself stand out. Moving on to the personal statement. So, you know, your CV is going to be an itemized list of everything that you have done. Your personal statement should really be talking about what you're going to do, what you want to do, what you're moving on forward to do. We're looking for you to tell us why you selected the course, you know, what the motivating factors are there. Why have you chosen this school is another one that you should think about as well. In particular, how do you see the course benefiting your career plans, and what are you going to bring into your cohort? So, broad strokes in terms of length, you'll see some guidance on the university web pages. I think it's about 4,500 characters. We don't need to put you in that box. We're not interested in putting you in a character box, if you will. We're happy for you to talk at length, or, you know, as shortly as you wish. That being said, I would consider a page or less in a Word document in a reasonably sized font to be quite short. And in a short personal statement, you're probably disadvantaging yourself by not really going into the depth that you could around all of the points that you're making. I then would consider, on the opposite side of that, 2.5, 3 pages. We're probably looking at quite a long personal statement. Again, nothing wrong with that in and of itself. But in long personal statements, we do find that candidates tend to wander off topic, you know, at some point through that. And when you're wandering off topic, you're not adding strength to your application. So it's just a waste of your words and your time to not really hit the brief for the personal statement. I think, you know, the typical mistake that I will see is that a student will spend 80% of their personal statement talking about their prior study, their prior work experience, and how strong that makes them. And then they'll mention the course in a short paragraph at the end to demonstrate what course they've applied to. And then they'll talk very briefly about their career plans. It's not a strong CV, not a strong personal statement, I should say. You know, you haven't really concentrated on telling us why you've chosen this course. My advice is, you know, when you're reading through your CV as you're writing it, for each paragraph you've written, just ask yourself, am I talking about why I've chosen this course? Am I talking about why I've chosen this school? Am I talking about what my career plans are and how the course has helped me to get there? If the answer is no, then you'll need to go back and look at the paragraph again. What we always want is for people to be consistently telling us why, the why and the where, you know, why you've chosen this and where you think it's going to take you. That should really be the common thread throughout your personal statement. It will say on here that you should please avoid repeating information from your CV. And as I just mentioned there, if it's not going anywhere, that's good advice. Don't just talk about your prior study. Don't just talk about your work experience. We have that available. We have your transcript. We have your CV. What is strong, though, is using information that's elsewhere on the application to further inform us as to why you've chosen the program. You know, if you want to talk about your work experience, talk about how it's made you want to study this course. Talk about how there was a key skill you felt you were missing during a particular activity and you found it in this module on this program. Depth of research as well is going to make a strong CV. You know, how well have you researched the program? You know, if you research it only well enough to talk about its title, that's not strong. It's not certainly not as strong as talking about individual modules that you're excited to engage with and how you think they're going to give you key skills. They're going to make you stronger when you go into your role later on. Talking about a piece of research that you've read for an academic that teaches on it. And I know we're going deep in the research now, but as I said, the more effort you put in, the more effort you're going to get out. Talk about the career support, you know, thinking about the school. Is it the rankings that have drawn you to it? Was it you talking to an alumni? Was it the career support that's made you want to join us? Talk about it. Talk about what you want to do from the back of it. Again, it's just further demonstrating your research. If you want to link in your personal statement to your extracurriculars, you know, you might have been a member of the consulting club at your university and you can see we have one here and you want to continue that. That's great. We know now that you're thinking beyond the confines of your program and thinking about all the other opportunities that you're going to have to develop while you're here on the Warwick campus. All of these built into your statement are going to mean that you're going to be showing your research, showing your strength, showing how much you've thought about it and how well you've related that to your career plans. And this is all what's going to make you a very strong candidate. So yeah, really something worth thinking about, and it's worth taking your time to deeply research the course. One thing you should not do for any institution is build a template personal statement and then you swap in the words of the institution or the courses. Even when it's done well, we can tell. And when it's done poorly, typically people are sending us a personal statement that's talking about a completely different university and a completely different course. And if you do that, it's unlikely you're going to get an offer because you know that's a sign that you haven't really taken the time to write a bespoke personal statement. In terms of your reference, this is less important in terms of the assessment process, but it is going to be required at some point before you take up your place. If you're looking at courses like finance and economics, mathematical finance, it will be required before we review your application. So certainly something to let your referee know that that's going to be happening soon. You must supply the details of at least one referee. We only need one to be verified. If you're still studying or within 2 years of graduation, that must be an academic referee. It must come from a recognizable institutional email address, no Gmails, no Hotmails, no lives.coms. And when you submit your application, paying a £75 fee, we will email your referee and invite them to submit a reference for you. So again, it's worth letting them know that they'll get that email. That's the sort of email that could definitely come into junk mail. So please let them know to check their junk mail if they're struggling to find that. If you're more than 2 years graduated, we understand that an academic referee may no longer be applicable to you. So we're happy for you to provide a professional reference at that point. Similar principle, though, it must come from a recognizable institutional email address, no lives, no Gmails, no Hotmails. And that you can upload additional references if you wish. So we require one to be verified. Those are the details that you provide. If you have another professional reference that you think is great or you're particularly proud of, you can always upload that as an additional document when you get access to the applicant portal. As I said, it's not essential for all courses in terms of consideration, but if you don't have a reference and we're able to make you an offer, that offer will be conditional on you supplying a satisfactory reference. So once you've completed your application, gathered all your documents, got them uploaded, you'll be making the fee payment, which is £75. Once that application fee is paid, you'll gain access to the applicant portal where you can track your application progress. And of course, you can go on and interact with it if we request any additional documents from you. Once submitted, the processing time is usually 6 to 8 weeks. Please note, at the moment, it might be significantly earlier than that. You might be getting your answer within 3 weeks. When we're in a particularly busy period, it might stretch to 10. That is just as broad an estimate as we can give you, but certainly at the moment, it's not typically taking 6 weeks for people to get a response. So please don't apply assuming it will take a minimum of 6 weeks. That is not necessarily the case. Okay, so just thinking about the timings on your applications, you might be getting a very quick response. You might be waiting up to 8 weeks. Once you've got your final outcome, that'll be delivered to you via email. If it's an offer letter, you'll be given that and the date, and then deposit payment of £2,500 is required within 4 weeks of that offer being made to you. You'll see that detailed in the offer letter. That is to secure your place and to give the institution a good idea of how many seats are still available to it to offer out to other candidates. Offers may be conditional on you meeting your academic, English language, or other requirements. So please read your offer letters in full and very carefully. That will detail all of the offer for you. Once you've met your conditions and made your deposit payments, when we're hitting summer, you'll be able to apply for accommodation. You'll get access to the pre-arrival pages to prepare for the courses. You'll be getting your CAS if you need to apply for a visa. And then, of course, once you arrive on campus, you'll go through the enrollment process and become a bona fide Warwick student. In terms of scholarship, we automatically consider absolutely everybody for scholarship. There is no separate application process you're going to go through. As I've talked about with your CV and your personal statement, these are very, very, very important documents. So please take all of that advice on board if you're looking to secure a scholarship. That could be the High Potential, the UK and Commonwealth, the International. We have a Warwick undergraduate scholarship and alumni scholarship. So if you've ever studied at Warwick before, you'll automatically get a 10% reduction in your tuition fees. If you're coming directly to Warwick from a Warwick undergraduate program, then you'll actually have that bumped up to 25%, and you'll still get considered for further awards on top of that. We'll award anybody a minimum of 10% up to a maximum of 50%, and they're highly competitive. There we go. So moving on to the career support at Warwick Business School. Here is just the smallest smattering of what are many, 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 many companies that our graduates gone to work at, whether it's Amazon, BMW, Chanel, Deloitte, Dyson, Google, IBM, Huawei, JD, JLR. You're looking at Nestle, PayPal, Pepsi, PwC, Tesla, TikTok even. And as I said, this is just the smallest possible example we could give you of the top sort of employers that come to us. As I said, we're the 6th most targeted university in the UK. So lots and lots of employers are looking out for our graduates to come onto their graduate programs. The career service at Warwick Business School starts before you arrive. It will give you access to webinars, online information, blog content, personal careers advice via email, phone, and video, or access to pre-arrival pages. That's all before you arrive on campus. Just once you're with us, you'll be getting access to our VMOX CV checking software and the advice we can give off the back of that. We'll know the assessment and interview sort of formats for where you're applying to. That means we're going to be able to give you mock assessments and mock interviews. There's lots of peripheral opportunities to engage with finance fest or careers fairs. You'll have employer engagement days. You'll have sector insight presentations. That could be in HR, consulting, asset management, or FMCG insights. Corporate speakers. So as I said, we've got Bank of England that come onto the campus regularly. We've had HSBC, Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, and many, many, many more. And of course, Careers Plus support will carry on with you once you've graduated, once you're an alumni. You'll be able to come back to us whenever you like, and you'll be part of our global alumni community, which means you'll be able to take advantage of that continued support, networking opportunities, and the exclusive events off the back of it. Moving on to Warwick itself. So life at WBS, the Warwick campus, as I said, is extremely active. We've got a £40 million sports and wellness hub. That's got a 100-station gym, 25-metre 12-lane swimming pool with adjustable boom. We've got a climbing wall in there. We've got outdoor grass pitches, target 3G, 4G, 5G. We've got an athletics centre with a track and all the other athletics accoutrements. We have an indoor and outdoor tennis centre. So that's 4 competition-style indoor hard courts and 4 porous macadam courts outside. Any sport that you might want to take part in, you're going to be able to do so here at Warwick, and that's fantastic. We've got the largest arts centre outside of a London campus, so lots of culture, lots of performances, visual arts, concerts, films, and festivals each year. 24/7 library where you can go and do those late night study sessions if you wish. We've got over 300 student-run societies and sports clubs, so whatever you fancy, there's certainly something that's going to meet on the campus. And of course, we've got the piazza where the nightclub, the bars, the pubs, and the 16 food drinks outlets are, and you can also go to our monthly food market there. And as a student here, you'll be well supported with Warwick. We've got our wellbeing support services, the residential community team that are looking after people that are here living on campus, the disability team, counselling, psychology and intervention team. So as you can see, a real focus on wellbeing. Then your multi-faith chaplaincy, where no matter your denomination, you can practice your faith, and the accommodation service that operates 7,500 plus rooms and 13 halls of residence. But there we go. That is everything that I have to talk you through at the moment with regards to Warwick University and Warwick Business School in particular. So I've got 10 minutes or so now, I think, to take any questions that you might have for me.
Okay, thank you so much, Rose, for very incredible, insightful presentation. So now we have time for Q&A, and I think the first question raised by Jamin Wu, she's talking about she asking about the personal statement.
Yeah. So can I say personal statement refer to more connections why I choose to go to WBS?
Yeah.
So yeah, whatever your thought process is in terms of why you're choosing to go to Warwick Business School, yes, that's always going to be very strong. Is it the rankings of the programs? As I said, is it that you've talked to an alumni? Have you been here before? That all sort of feeds into how you feel about this institution. It sort of creates this direct connection between you and not just the course, but us as a community, as an institution. So yeah, the more you want to talk about that, the better. As I said, in my personal statement section, length is not so much of an issue to us as it is relevance. So, if you are going to 3 pages, as I said, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a poor personal statement, because if everything you've written is still relevant to why you've chosen the course, why you've chosen the school, what you want to do, and what skills and experience you're bringing in, great. It's still a great personal statement. So, don't let anything. I always say with the CV and with the CV in particular, but also the personal statement, we're not going to disadvantage you for things you put on it, but there might be things you leave out that would actually make you seem like a stronger candidate. So it's always best just to get everything on the paper, so to speak, and then we can make that assessment then.
Okay,
thank you. I just want to know, you can make more clear between the CV and the personal statement. Yeah, I got your answer. Thank you.
Hi there.
Thank you. So sorry, I saw your.
I'm he. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
Never mind. He, she is both okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
So sorry. What was the question then? What's the talk more about the CV and the personal statement? Was it?
Yep.
So you dropped out a little bit
there. Yeah. So let me clarify again. Because in CV, we were writing something about why I chose the WBS, and in personal statement, we will write again. That's my question, but you answered.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. So yeah, as I said, I think I think the best way to think about it is to sort of separate those two documents. So think of it as, one head looking back, one head looking forward. So your CV is telling us what you've done.
Yeah.
So, the best of it, like with CVs as well, people will often ask me, I've got something that I'm going to be doing shortly, but I haven't done yet. So I'd always say, with a CV, don't put anything on there that you haven't already done. Future things are for your personal statement. What's happened or what you're doing now is for your CV. So don't, your CV can show us, where your work experience lies, where your extracurricular lies. But until we read the personal statement, your CV doesn't necessarily tell us why you're coming to us or why you're doing this course. It's your personal statement that's going to describe that. So don't, and as I said, we're happy for you to use information that is on your CV. When you want to talk about how that shaped your motivations, great, put it in the personal statement. The only thing we don't advise you do is just repeat it for repeating its sake, which is what, a lot of people do, is they'll just talk about their work experience again for, half a page, but they never link it to why they want to come here. Whereas if you're talking about, I did some work experience at PwC, I was doing some analysis, and I realized that my skills weren't quite where they needed to be as to my peers. I've researched your MSc in business analytics. I can see you've got this big data analytics module that's going to give me these key skills, and that's going to make me really strong when I go back to PwC post graduation and try and get that role again. That's a strong sentiment, because you are repeating that. So yeah, we've got that headline, PwC, well done, and then you're using that information to tell us why you've chosen the course and how that's going to make you stronger in your career. So perfect. That's very, very strong. It's just, don't just repeat information that's elsewhere. You've got to bring it back round to why the course or why the school.
Yeah, super clear. Thank you.
Awesome.
Okay, thank you. Any other question? You can type, either type in the chat box or open your microphone and speak up. Yeah, you can also type in Mandarin and we can help to translate.
I must have done a very comprehensive session. That's good.
Yes.
So, I've spent a long time talking about application. I've spent a long time reviewing applications as well. So I always have a lot to say about them. I think, people have put a lot of effort into, as I said, CVs and personal statements before. And as I said, I think the one that stuck with me the most was the fashion magazine front cover. I think that was a young lady from Taiwan as well.
Really?
She'd been studying fashion design at Manchester, and she wanted to come and do marketing and strategy here. And I've just never seen a document that more perfectly sort of encapsulated the linkage between her subject areas, her critical engagement in it. And as I said, I think that's testament to the fact that taking that extra time or making that document a bit more personalized can really benefit you. And that can be the difference between you getting scholarship or not sometimes.
I'm quite curious about the CV because you mentioned not to minimize to one page.
Yeah.
Can be like a notebook, but if we did like a 4 or 5 page, is okay about that?
Yeah, again, that's fine. Yeah, absolutely. That, like, I mean, it's extreme, but ultimately, like I said, we're not limiting you, and because we're asking for a lot more than a professional CV would, it's like the work experience. When you're doing a professional CV, you're not going to put your time as a barista at Starbucks 10 years ago, on there, or you're not going to put your paper round on there because you need to keep everything relevant. But when it comes to us, actually, so yeah, if your PwC work experience is going to have quite a bit of detail underneath it, and your year at Starbucks when you were a first year student is not. But once you take the whole picture, this person that's got these different work experience part-time roles looks quite driven, and that is a good thing to look like. So providing a lot of detail is not usually what I expect for your part-time roles, but it just to see it as a list of what you've been doing and sort of how engaged you've been, and when you've needed to, you've gone out and found work. These are all things that suggest we've got quite a driven candidate on our hands, and they're going to be really impressive to us. And the same with the extracurriculars. We're looking at people that want to develop. Your extra, your time. Yeah, I mean, your time as a captain of the badminton club, it's developing leadership skills, and it's showing that you've got a life outside of study. We don't think necessarily that coming here and putting your head in a book for a year is your best experience. You want to get out and see the campus and see the world around you and engage with all the new people that you've got around you. And when you see a candidate that does that, so yeah, if you do a 3 or 4 page, but it's just constantly demonstrating how driven you are, how engaged you are. And I mean, in particular, when you're looking at, say, social impact as well, your volunteer activities, it's quite important, really, for you to give a bit of detail, because they can be really impressive. How have you affected people? How have you affected change? What did you take from it? What are the rewards? And I mean, it can really build a picture of a strong candidate. So yeah, like I always say, don't leave anything on the table. Put it all on the CV, because sometimes you just don't know what we're going to be impressed by, and second guessing what you think we might be can be quite dangerous, because you'll leave stuff off that actually would be quite interested to see.
Okay, thank you. And I have another question.
Please.
Yeah, because some programs are quite large cohort, perhaps over 100, 200 students. How you cope with to management so many students, and how they can get equivalent attention?
So I mean, not all courses are that size. So again, it depends what you're coming into. But yeah, so for these purposes, I'd say we're probably talking about management, business analytics, marketing, and strategy. So typically, we'll split the cohort into streams. So for the bigger lectures and that, you'll have lecture A, lecture B, and you'll be in which one. So again, you're not overloading it. We're not overloading the students. But and again, asynchronous lectures aren't necessarily as interactive as the rest of this sort of thing. So again, we can talk at a lot more students. It's when the students are talking back that you've got to start splitting things down. So then you'll split down into smaller seminar groups. That's where you're going to be able to actually engage with the ideas, to thrash them out, to talk about them. For every hour that you're having a very synchronous lecture, which can be done online as well, you'll be having an hour of either seminar or workshop time where you're talking through the problems, talking through the issues, engaging in the ideas. And then you'll have an hour of self-study, or there'll be a group task attached to that module. So that last hour will be you with your group going through it, or a presentation task, or a business case. These things are all getting built into the program. So there's once you start to get through it, there's lots of different ways that you break that down and break you down into smaller groups and make it more engaging for you. And it just means you're getting all the same contact time with the academics. You're getting all the same contact time with the rest of your cohort. You'll have groups that are, constantly mixing around. So we're getting you access to different people and different viewpoints. And that's, as I said, those are the bigger courses. Obviously, when you get down to, say, your business and marketing, your management of information systems, typically they'll be about 100 strong. So that's absolutely fine. That's like quite a compact cohort. And I mean, I think, the biggest courses, that being management, marketing strategy, and business analytics, typically have the widest range of electives. So once students start picking their electives, they start to diverge away from sort of the main group and the main core. And those electives can be quite small and, again, more intimate and more engaged.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your detailed answers. So now I think we move on to the next section, with our student ambassador. So I think 2 of them already joined in.
I can see them, yeah.
Yeah, Kira and
Johanna,
Johan, yeah.
Hello.
Hi, can you?
Hi.
Hello.
We need to open our cameras.
Yes, and both of you got a presentation file to share?
Yeah.
Okay, you can share the screen if you are ready. I think who will be first? Who want to do
you want me to go first?
Yeah, you might as well go first, Kira. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, Kira, please. Are you able to share the screen?
Yeah, I'm just trying to get it to work.
Yeah.
If it becomes an issue, Kira, I've got your slides here, so I can always share mine, and you can just do the old Chris Whitty. Next slide, please.
Yeah, if you could do that, because I do have some setting issues.
No problem at all. I'll get that up now for you. Johan, I can do the same for you as well if that's going to be a problem there too. So don't you worry. Just let me get that set up and ready. Awesome.
Session recording has started.
Right, how are we doing? Can we see that?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So just let me know when you need the next slide, Kira, and I'll move them across for you. And
Okay.
Johan, I'll get yours lined up as well, Johan, just in case.
Yeah, sure. So, hi everyone. I'm Kira. I'm 21 years old, and I am a marketing and strategy student at WBS. And I'm originally from Berlin, so I'm an international student here. I did my undergrad in Berlin doing media and communication. So I started doing the media side and now going on to the marketing side. And in my free time, I really like to do a lot of sports. I play tennis and football. So yeah, that's just a bit about myself. Yeah. So why did I choose this course originally? So I really, really enjoy going to university. I always have, and I like studying. So I wanted to really choose a course or like a university that would really be, beneficial to my overall CV and studies. So I chose Warwick because it had a strong global reputation, and also with marketing and strategy was something that kind of combined both the creative side and the analytics side of things. And I felt like that was a good mix of both for me to have skills in like everything and not just a specific side of just marketing or just strategy. Also, I have a big family at home, and there were a few of my cousins, for example, who went to Warwick as well. So I got like family recommendations as well, and they told me how nice their experience was, how they liked the campus and just the surroundings, and that really helped me choose Warwick as well. And yeah, what I already said, I wanted to choose a course that blends a lot of things, and I feel like marketing and strategy, that course overview gave me that confidence to do that. So yeah, my journey so far has been really great. It's been super practical. I feel like in my undergrad, I did a lot of theoretical frameworks and stuff like that, something that was valuable in a way, but didn't really help me do a job and give me practical skills. So I feel like my course now, my postgrad now, is actually practical in a way where I feel confident with actually applying that to real world jobs and applying that to the industry. So that's given me a lot of confidence and career awareness. And I mean, obviously, a postgrad is challenging. It's not, you do a postgrad for a reason. It's more challenging than an undergrad, but I feel like you get a lot of support at WBS. We have academic tutors, we have a career service, I have a lot of people in my course that I talk to and are very valuable in like talking to get experience and awareness for things. So that really gives me confidence as well to say that I am actually, I'll be all right, and I'll have all the resources I need. Even if I'm struggling, I have people I can talk to and people that will help me anytime. And also, what I really like is the mix of teamwork and real cases we have. We have a lot of group work, and it's really nice to get together with your cohort and work on things together and see where different people have different skills. And also the industry insights with career events has been really valuable to me. Can you maybe go to the next slide? Oh, yeah. So because I'm a German national student, so I really wanted an international experience, and that's why I kind of went with Warwick as well. Yeah, I think I've said everything. Also, the campus is really nice. I can say that. It's a very, that's why I kind of didn't go for the London vibes, because it is very in the city, and you don't have this closed campus feeling and that like family feeling. I feel like it's just very closed, and that's what I like about university. So that's why I didn't choose London as well. So, yeah, let's see what else we have new. Oh yeah. Okay, so a bit about like my personal experience. I feel like I found a lot of nice friends. You can see some pictures, some personal pictures of my time here so far. So yeah, there's a welcome week. You meet a lot of people at welcome week, and that's where I found a few of my friends. I joined Warwick Tennis Club, which gave me some new people to talk to as well and find a community there. There's a lot of career networking events also, like nearly every day, where I can meet professionals and alumni and other students, and that has been the most valuable to me. I didn't have that in my undergrad, and that really gives me the networking abilities that you need for a postgrad. And yeah, moving to Warwick felt scary at first, but just exciting in a way as well, because you do get a lot of support. The campus community is great, and it made like settling in super easy. So you can see like the park that we have, and the way I take walks, and yeah, just me moving in. So yeah, just some personal insight. Let's see. Do we have another slide? Oh yeah, so some like final thoughts and some tips from me is WBS again has a lot of resources and a lot of support. So really taking that offer will make the difference for you. And if you are someone who is a bit unsure with, where to go, or has great ambitions and needs a little bit of support, that would be, Warwick and WBS is great, and will support you in any way possible. There are a lot of sessions and social events to go to, and it's really easy to make friends. So you really shouldn't worry about that. I know it's hard to move to a new country and not know anyone and everything being new, but it is very easy and engaging to make friends. And yeah, apart from the university, if you look at the location, we have Leamington Spa and Coventry and Warwick Castle, for example, and it's a really nice area all around, and there's lots to explore even outside of university. And yeah, it's just a great location, I feel like. So yeah, that's all from me.
Thanks, Kira. Awesome. Very good. Thank you for the slides as well. That's great. Yuhan, I'm just going to line yours up. So 1 moment.
I can try to share on my screen.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Awesome.
So I can change the slide. Please share it on yours.
Yes, I will. Yeah, that's fine. Don't worry. Just the same thing again. You'll have to let me know when you want me to move around. Okay. Well, everyone's got it. Yep. Well, I can't hear you now.
We can jump to the next slide.
Got you.
We can jump to the next slide.
Awesome.
So to start with, I'm a student in Master of Finance, and I also complete my undergrads in work as well in accounting finance. So now it's one more step into the finance specifically. So a bit about me personally is that I love playing sports like badminton and basketball, and now I'm also participating in the uni teams. Also, I like to travel because UK is located very close to Europe, so I will take some journey to Spain or other countries in Europe during vacation. And also, my background is quite international because my high school was an IB system in Spain. So if you have any questions specifically about from undergrad to master in the UK, or student life and sport related, or about the finance program, you can feel free to contact me and ask me. We can go to the next slide. So the four main reasons why I continued my study in WBS would be firstly, the reputation and ranking. Just how uni value our grade and stuff, we also care about the ranking, and WBS has a very fair and reputational frame in the finance industry, I think. And also it has a good network with the alumni. I've been to quite a lot of the networking events. And I found that like quite useful because you got to know a lot of people who already work in the industry and they give you quite practical insights. And you also get to learn from the best. Like for this, what I meant is like the professors, because they taught for like many years and they have a very complete and systematic lectures, notes, and stuff that help you to support your study through the entire year. And also like prepare for the final exams, or if you wanna to like develop your interest in a particular area, and also the career support. And for me, why I continued my study in finance is because like after I completed my undergrads in accounting and finance, I found that there's a lot of more that I can develop further into, especially like after completing several internships. You will find like there's area you will be like very interested in. For example, for me, it's like I want to learn more about fixed income. So I have quite a personal passion to continue the study. And also, apart from like fixed income, I'm also like interested in risk management and financial modeling. So like one more year of study would like make me more prepared for going into the industry. And also, I think it has a very high impact career after you graduate from WBS. Yeah, we can move to the next slide. And here, just like a brief journey of me transitioning from like my high school into undergrads at Warwick and then into postgrads. So like, I hope the timeline can help you to know a bit about the application process. So if you wanna like apply to postgrads, I think you start your application now, like preparing your like CV, personal statement, we're asking for reference letter. And then you will get to choose like to confirm your choice of postgrad school during like May or during the summer, and then being enrolled in September next year. Yeah. We can move to the next slide. And then here's just like a briefing of my experience so far. So first I would say like finance is definitely a challenging course. Like the workload is very demanding, but like in the same time, it's also like very rewarding. Like right now, the background is actually the uni library is the collaboration space. And the reason I'm here is like because I'm preparing for the finals. Yeah. And then the pace and rigor, I would say is like quite fast paced. You have like for the finance course around like 4 or 5 lectures per week, as well as 4 to 5 seminars where you get to like work on practical like questions, and then to have a discussion with the professors or like tutors who give you like academic support. And the questions are like they simulate the demands of the finance industry. Like they ask you to work on like actual problems like asset pricing and etc. And they give you quite a deep learning from the textbook theory into the numerical workings. And also it's very collaborative because you get to work with others. There's like group works where you need to work in 5 or 6 people and stuff. And then you guys collaborate for around like 2 or 3 weeks to produce a final report. I would say it's also a very interesting experience. We can move to the next slide. And for me, because like personally, I value like work-life balance. So while I catch up on my academic work, I think it's also important that you actually enjoy the uni life, especially given like there's a lot of societies and clubs in Warwick. If you don't like postgrad is just 1 year, so if you don't like use the opportunity, I would say it's like quite a pity. So for me personally, I am in the finance society. This is like related to my academic background. And apart from that, I'm also in the sport community, such as like Team Warwick badminton and basketball. They play in the box league. This is like a national competition. So you go to compete with like different universities, like with like Oxford, Cambridge. So you got to meet different people from the UK. And also because my background is like from China, so I'm also in the CISA. This is like an association that supports Chinese students. And then we also organize like fun activities like the China New Year and stuff. So they make you feel like you're inclusive in the environment, and you got to make a lot of friends in unis to make your life like engaging. Yeah. And that's it.
Awesome. Thank you, Johan, as well. Oh, it's awesome. Thank you so much for the presentations, guys. And yeah, there you go, Johan. We've got some time for questions now if anybody wants to ask them.
Yeah, a big thank you to Kara and Yuhan. And anyone have question to the student ambassador or to us?
I think if you don't mind, while everyone's preparing their questions, if I jump in and ask one myself.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I'll start with you, Johan, if I can. I guess what's sort of you're a successful applicant, and we had some questions about the application process earlier. Do you have any top tips about how you prepared your application or best practices at all?
Personally, I think like having a good personal statement is like quite important, because that's also the part that I enjoy during the application. Because like many people find writing personal statement like very confusing or difficult because they don't actually know what to put on. So I would say if like you have a genuine interest for the program that you're applying, you can put that in. Like you don't need to like make it perfect at first. You just need to put your thoughts in perhaps like bullet point or stuff, and then make them a list so you actually know what you're thinking about the program. So you can like to know what you are really thinking. And then the personal statement, I think, is like the key thing is like to advertise yourself, like to tell the uni like what you know, and then like why you're interested. For me, in my personal statement, I think I included like the books that I read in my spare time, like relating to finance, and then the some internship that I've done and what I learned from it, as well as like what I look forward to continue to develop in my uni life. This is like the three main section in my application. And also apart from the personal statement, I would say like asking for reference as soon like as early as possible is also like quite key, especially if you want to be like very prepared for it, because you need to give your like referee some time to prepare for it.
Thank you, Johan. And Kira, the same question to you. You're a successful applicant. Do you have any top tips to share?
Yeah, so I would kind of agree with Johan as well. I remember that when I applied very last minute because I was very unsure to whether to apply or not. So I remember that I didn't have a lot of time doing my personal statement. And normally I am a person that needs a lot of time and preparation. And I was like, okay, well, let's just do something that speaks from my heart, because that's all I can do right now because I don't have enough time. So what I did is and that kind of was different from all the other statements I did for other applications, but I really just focused on trying to explain why this course would be valuable to me and why I have this personal emotional attachment to my course and the industry I want to be in. And I think that really just helped me to really go on a personal level and tell them this is what I've been doing so far, this is where I want to be, and I really think that you can help me achieve my goals. So yeah, I feel like if you really have a passion and a want to do this, then there's nothing stopping you and nothing in your way, maybe, if that makes sense. Just on a person, like on a more personal side, obviously everything that Johan said of presenting yourself and a reference and all of that is very important, but maybe on a personal level as well.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And you both obviously submitted a very strong application, so it looks like you did really well on the personal statements. So I guess while it's still me. I'll stick with you for a minute if I can, Kira, if that's all right. I know both you and you had mentioned that you're actually quite involved in the extracurriculars on campus. So I know you said your football and such. You know, was that sort of an important thing to you coming in, that you have that sort of ability to engage with extracurricular activities?
Oh, absolutely. That was definitely even before I applied. I checked the clubs on campus because I feel like it's just something that is part of being at uni, is going to extracurriculars and engaging in other things other than like your courses and your classes. So yeah, I was really happy when I saw tennis at Warwick, and that was something I was really looking forward even before I even like handed in my application. So doing extracurriculars has always been very valuable to me. That's where I normally find a community that shares the same interests, or where you actually find deep friendships. So that's why, yeah, it's always been very valuable to me.
Same question for you, Johan. Obviously, you're quite engaged with everything going on. Is there, is some of that just to unwind from the program? Are you doing some of that as like a co-curricular thing?
Yeah. So like, or I would say like I agree with the friendship thing that Kara just mentioned. I think because you're like in a very new environment, and I would say having friends that you like and like you is like quite an important thing to make you get involved in the campus at first. So the sport clubs like basketball and badminton, I've doing them since undergrads, and actually since year one, so it's been like 4 years. Quite a lot of my friend is like met during the tournament, and then like you can go hang out after you do some like trainings and stuff, and this is like actually make me feel that the campus is like, kind of like my home. And then having a routine life, perhaps like saying you go to lecture and then you complete your homework, then you have a weekend that you can chill with your friend, makes you feel like you're like enjoying your uni life rather than just like completing some like just like going for the degree only. So, and then I would say the CISA, so like the Chinese Association thing, that's also quite interesting because currently we're like actually already start preparing for the New Year event, and then like it's like make you feel like home because you can actually watch the activities that we prepare in like around like January, February in UK. So that would be like very unique experience, I would say.
Thank you, Johan.
Yeah, wonderful.
Ewa?
Yeah, I have a question to Kara and Johan, reflecting about your the curriculum and society you joined, because I know the master program is quite demanding, and so how you cope with your time and manage your time at work to be a balance your study and the society.
Yeah, so I do find that it is yeah, a master's course is very demanding, and it is true that there is not a lot of time, or not a lot of time, free time, but especially the societies, like I joined the European Society just to get in touch with a lot of European students on campus as well. And what they do is everyone knows that everyone's busy. So even if it's just once a week where we go to dinner, for example, is already really nice, just to meet some people just for dinner, because you have to have dinner anyway. Or it's normally not too demanding, even if you have to tell them, look, I am very busy this weekend and I can't make the tennis session, or I can't come to dinner. That's absolutely fine. You need to kind of just see where your priorities are. But just to be part of the society and have the opportunities to go to tennis, for example, or go to a dinner with the European Society is nice, because it kind of gives you the freedom of just unwinding as well. You can't be studying all the time and every day.
And how about you, Han? Thank you, Kira.
So I think it kind of depends on your personality. So for me, I'm like kind of extrovert, so I enjoy to stay with my friend. So for now, I'm preparing for my finals, and perhaps I've spent like 5 or 6 hours in the library. But then after, if I go to like, for example, like basketball trainings or like go to the CSAT to prepare for the New Year events, that for me is like a relaxing moment that I can share with my friends. So it's actually like a break to step away from the studies. So I would say it's like to join in these societies would be like, perhaps it makes you more demanding, but it's also like very rewarding. So it's like there's like another side. But if you enjoy to have own moment, like own moment at home, it's also like fun. You can join later if like after you finish the exams, when you have holidays, or like in week 1 or week 2 when you're like not that busy or not didn't start that much like lecture notes, lecture work.
Okay, thank you. And I got not. It seemed nobody asked questions. And I got one question. For the offer holder who perhaps will join the WBS. So, what the one thing you will advise them to do before they arrive at Warwick Business School?
Start with you, Johan.
Yeah, what should they prepare? Yeah, before joining WBS.
I think in terms of academic, because my course they will give you like some like module structures and preparation work for you to look through about 1 month before starting term 1. So like I do suggest you to actually look through those things because they're like very useful in case you need to like rewatch them all like 2 weeks before the finals, because that will cause like a lot of stress and extra work. So yeah, I would say like to prepare before the lectures and then also revise after lectures, and like to balance your time out instead of like leaving everything 2 weeks or 1 week before the final. But that will like burn you out like very seriously. Yeah.
Kira?
Yeah, so I do agree with you, Han. I've maybe what I would say is, because as an international student studying in the UK is a little different culture, different working environment, or and just kind of maybe prepare for having to be in the UK, like just like cultural intelligence, for example, or networking preparation of like identify what is it you want to achieve because 1 year of postgrad is not a lot. 1 year is goes by very fast. So having a plan of what industries do I like, what alumni of like WBS have already worked in the industry and I can connect with even before I arrive, for example, or update your LinkedIn to a UK focused profile, something like that. And then also make sure that you have, your visa sorted and accommodation sorted. You don't want to arrive and not have a place to stay, but yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Yeah. I think we have no more question.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, we can end the session.
Okay,
Big thank you.
great.
Yeah. A big thank you to Rose, Kira, and Johan for your incredible, valuable insight and for sharing your experience at WBS with us today. So I hope all of us find you can find this section useful and give all of us a clear picture of what your future at WBS. So hope someday we will meet you at work. Okay, so.
Yeah, thank you very much, Yuhan and Kira. That was really, really good, and your slides were awesome. Thank you, Yua, for organising it, and everybody for attending. As I said previously, we're very contactable. So if you have any questions, after the fact, if you're anything like me, you'll think of all the questions you wanted to ask the minute the session ends. So please do get in touch with us. Very happy to engage with you. And we've got lots more events and things coming up as well. So do check out the events page. There's lots more information and sessions coming up, and you'll have a lot more chance to speak with our current students and our alumni over the coming months. But yeah, thank you all very much. It was great.